right, thank you. Ms. Rodriguez, the verdict of the jury reads as follows, dispensing with the caption, jury verdict count 1, murder in the first degree. We, the jury, find the defendant, Stacy Marie Rodriguez, guilty of murder in the first degree, signed by the foreperson. Jury verdict count 2, first degree arson. We, the jury, find the defendant, Stacy Marie Rodriguez, guilty of first degree arson, signed by the foreperson. Jury verdict count 3, tampering with a deceased human body. We, the jury, find the defendant, Stacy Marie Rodriguez, guilty of tampering with a deceased body, signed by the foreperson. And then, I'm sorry, to go back to count 2, jury verdict count 2, first degree arson, verdict question form. We further find with respect to the verdict question for this count as follows. Did the prosecution prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the arson was of an occupied structure? The jury has marked yes, and that is signed by the foreperson. Jury verdict count 4, excuse me. Second degree burglary arson. We, the jury, find the defendant, Stacy Marie Rodriguez, guilty of second degree burglary arson, and that verdict is signed by the foreperson. Jury verdict count 4, burglary arson, verdict question form. We further find with respect to the verdict question for this count as follows. Did the prosecution prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the structure burglarized by the defendant was a dwelling? The jury has selected yes, and that is signed by the foreperson. And then finally, jury verdict count 5, second degree burglary theft. We, the jury, find the defendant, Stacy Marie Rodriguez, guilty of second degree burglary theft. That verdict is signed by the foreperson. Jury verdict count 5, burglary theft, verdict question form. We further find with respect to the verdict question for this count as follows. Did the prosecution prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the structure burglarized by the defendant was a dwelling? The jury has selected yes, and that verdict form is signed by the foreperson. Madam Foreperson, is this the verdict of the jury? Yes. All right, thank you. Does either side wish to have the jury polled?
Yes, please.
All right, thank you. Juror number 1, is this your verdict and the verdict of the juries? Yes. And juror number 2, is this your verdict and the verdict of the jury? Yes. Juror number 3, is this your verdict and the verdict of the jury? Yes. Juror number 4, is this your verdict and the verdict of the jury? Yes. Juror number 5, is this your verdict and the verdict of the jury? Yes. Juror number 6, is this your verdict and the verdict of the jury? Yes. Juror number 7, is this your verdict and the verdict of the jury? Juror number 9, is this your verdict and the verdict of the jury? Yes. Juror number 10, is this your verdict and the verdict of the jury? Yes. Juror number 12, is this your verdict and the verdict of the jury? Yes. Juror number 13, is this your verdict and the verdict of the jury? Yes. Juror number 14, is this your verdict and the verdict of the jury? Yes. All right, thank you. Judgments of guilty are now entered in this matter as to counts 1 through 5, and we will address setting the matter for sentencing in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have now completed your duties as jurors in this case and are discharged with the thanks of the court. The question may arise whether you may discuss this case with the lawyers, defendants, or other persons. For your guidance, the court instructs you that whether you talk to anyone is entirely your own decision. It is proper for others to discuss the case with you, and you may talk with them, but you need not. If you talk to them, you may tell them as much or as little as you like about your deliberations or the facts that influenced your decision. If any person persists in discussing the case over your objection or becomes critical of your service, either before or after any discussion has begun, please report it to me at once. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to add my own personal comments. I know that jury duty is not something that people often looking forward to, and it's something that people often look to actively avoid. But it is my experience when someone has been selected to be on a jury and they go through this process, even if it was a difficult and long experience for them, they at least come away with some positive view of our justice system and the important work that we do here in the 19th Judicial District. I genuinely hope that was your experience with your service in this trial. With that, you are released. I would also like to go back to the jury room and give you my own personal thanks, as well as I have some certificates regarding your jury service to give to you. Now, I know it's been a very, very long 2.5 weeks, so if you all would like to get out of here, please do. It's not going to hurt my feelings if you decide to go on. But for those of you who would like to wait, I should be back in the jury room in just a few minutes. All right, thank you again for your service, and with that, you are discharged. Please rise for the jury. All right, thank you. Please be seated. All right, judgments as to counts 1 through 5 will now enter. Judgment as to count 1 by statute dictates that the court should take every effort to proceed to sentencing as soon as possible. The court's intending on setting this matter out for sentencing at 3 p.m. Mr. McCormick and Mr. Pralia, can you make that work?
Yes,
And it looks like that does work for Mr. Dickerson and his family?
correct.
Your Honor, I cannot do that. I'm sorry.
All right. Can you do 2:30?
Your Honor, Ms. Rodriguez is requesting, her brothers aren't here. They were at work. I know the court's preference is to do it as soon as possible, but if it's possible to do another day, that's what our request is.
All right. I appreciate that that's the defendant's request. However, I do need to, by statute, proceed to sentencing quickly in this matter. So I am going to set sentencing to 3 p.m. today.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. So there was 2 different issues.
Sure.
I have a personal issue, so if we could do it sooner this afternoon, I'd appreciate it.
Can we do 2:30?
If we can do 2 o'clock, that'd even be better.
Let's do 2:15. I think that might be the best I could do. I will need to make some other arrangements with my docket this afternoon, but we'll reconvene for sentencing at 2:15. Mr. Pralia and Mr. McCormick, does that also work for the victim representative?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Then we'll be in recess in this matter until 2:15.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.